Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today I'm joined by West End star Dany Micheals, who starred as Bach in Wicked in the UK. Now Dany and I talk about drama school, how to get in, what to do. He talks to us about the crazy audition process of getting into a West End show. We talk about taking a year off after college, or dropping out of a course and changing it up and just doing what you really want to do. And we talk about how your dream doesn't always make you happy and to look after the important things.
What roles do you kind of see yourself playing? And the first thing I said was Bach and Wicked.
So guys, let me know what you think. And as always, if you like the podcast, share with someone you think would like it. And let's get the show started. Alright guys, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today I'm joined by West End star Dany Micheals. How are you today, Dany?
Yeah, I'm alright, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks so much for coming on to the show.
It's absolutely fine. It's my first podcast. I've never done one before.
Your first podcast?
Yeah.
And before the show we were talking about podcasts we like, and we both just had a moment, and I said we have to record. And what podcast do you listen to all the time?
Getting Curious by Jonathan Van Ness.
Jonathan Van Ness. And tell us a little bit about that and him and what it's all about.
So he's an absolute, well actually I think he's non-binary, so absolute queen. Basically gets experts on to his podcast every week to talk about something that makes him curious. But I just love it because he's so fabulous and out there, and all of the titles are like, what's the cutest way to fight climate change? And like, how many cats am I allowed to foster before it's illegal? And like, it's so good.
And some of the guests are so serious, and he's just so like, meow. Like,
yeah,
he's
it's so funny when he gets like 70-year-old professors on, and they're like, well, I think, and he's like, oh my god, amazing.
It's so funny.
It's so
and
funny.
He's actually one of the first podcasts I properly got into, because I thought
Me
the
too.
concept was just so simple. It was like, here's something I'm curious about, and that can be about anything, so it's really cool.
I only started listening to it when there were already like 100 episodes or something, so I just listened to ones that kind of caught my interest, and now it's like weekly notifications.
And he makes it entertaining yet educational.
He's always entertaining.
Yeah, he's so good. And he was playing in Dublin and we didn't get tickets.
No,
it's very sad.
I was so upset.
But tell us about you. So you are a musical theatre star. How did you get your start? What drove you?
Well, I moved over to London to go to drama school when I was 20 in 2014. Before that, I'd kind of sang kind of all my life and stuff, and I'm the youngest of 8 actually. So
I'm the youngest of 3.
Oh yeah, okay.
Youngest, yeah. That's it. I kind of become friends with the youngest.
Do you?
Yeah, it's weird. Do you find that? No, or is that just a me thing?
Not really, no. I think I don't meet people that have lots of siblings though very often, especially in the UK. Over here, like more, because it's obviously like in such a like Irish thing.
We're an island.
Like lots of kids and stuff. But I think being the youngest of 8, like my family's quite musical. Everybody sang and stuff, and nobody really pursued it. So I think they all were really, really supportive of me as the youngest person doing it, because they were all like, why didn't we do this? So I was kind of pushed towards it. I didn't go till I was 20, because I actually, when I left secondary school, I went into the music degree in DIT for a year.
Oh, amazing.
Doing like classical voice, and then dropped out of that after first year because I knew I wanted to do musical theatre in London. Then went over to drama school.
So did you take a year in between that?
I did. I just worked as like a waiter for a year.
Oh, where'd you work? Were you in Dublin? Like?
Yeah, well, in Howth. I'm
Okay.
from in the Bloody Stream, which is like a pub and restaurant.
You can bring your dogs there, yeah? No, that's...
You can. Not inside. Places over here, you can't... There's lots of places you can't really bring your dog inside, isn't there? Over in London,
yeah, because
everyone brings their
allergies
dog
and stuff
everywhere.
like that. Well, that's
is
what they
that
say.
right?
I believe so.
Right.
I don't have a
I didn't
dog.
know
My
that.
mum's allergic. We have a cat.
Mum's allergic to dogs.
Yeah, it's very sad because like we've had loads of strays in over the years.
Yeah.
And we've had to like give them away. After like 2, my brother literally fell in love with a dog in 2005. This dog, my brother was like 10. 10's an awkward age, and this dog came in and they used to watch TV together, and then the dog had to go. It was
I like cats as well, though.
Cats are fun. Cats are underrated.
What's your cat like?
His name's Roger. He's ginger and white, and he like, if you pick him up, he'll only give you affection if he's hungry. He's very entertaining. Very entertaining.
Okay.
But you went to the UK, took your gap year. Look at us talking about cats. We're like Jonathan Van Ness.
Yeah.
What's going on? Jeez,
Such a tangent. Yeah, no. Well, I did a year in a music degree. Then I decided I wanted to go to London to go to drama school. I actually auditioned for drama schools that year and didn't even get a recall anywhere.
So how did you prepare then the second time?
The second year, I had friends over there. One of my best friends moved over straight after secondary school, and I think half the battle was actually like learning about the drama schools and almost like playing a game a bit to show them what I knew they wanted to see. Do you know
So
what I
what's
mean?
the game? If I was about to apply next week, what would you advise me to do?
Well, it's very well, the school that I went to Arts Ed in West London, which is quite like evenly split between the three disciplines, singing, dancing, acting. And I knew that they literally just want to see that you are capable of like learning all three, or you're capable of being like trained or something. So like, you know, the first year when I went in, I was so nervous and I just like was in my head and I was really kind of frazzled the whole time. But then the second year I knew I just had to go in, like actually listen to what they wanted me to do and just kind of try to apply that. And that's kind of what I mean by kind of playing the game a bit. They just want to see that you can like do all three. And even though I didn't consider myself a strong dancer at all when I went over to London, I just made sure that in like the dance audition I listened to everything they said and really tried to like apply it really specifically so that they could be like, oh, he takes notes.
And what was the thing? Was it a group audition with the dance, or did you have to come in with your own choreography done, or what was the score?
Gosh, there's actually, because that would have like absolutely mortified me. There was a couple of schools I auditioned for where they were like, you need a minute dance solo, and I had already like paid the audition fee and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And
the day
when it came to it, I did not go to any of them. I cannot think of anything worse. But for Arts Ed, we had a group audition, which was like an hour and a half jazz class where you did like warm up stretches, like all this stuff, and then they taught you a routine at the end.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's grand. I mean, the audition I think altogether was like 6 hours long, which was quite a lot. And
if you're auditioning for loads of schools like throughout the year and flying back and forth from the UK.
Well, I auditioned for 3 drama schools. There was only 3 that I like wanted to go to. Some people I know audition for like 10, and I'm like, how? Because it's so expensive. If you're like booking flights
and you
back
pay
and forth,
fees, don't you? Like you just said, you pay audition fees.
Audition fees, yeah, it was like £40 per audition or something. I think that's gone up because that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, even maybe. When I auditioned. Yeah, I auditioned 6 years ago now.
And now that you've left, do you feel like maybe you found a part, like, oh, I actually like dance way more than I thought I did before I went in, or do you still see yourself?
Completely. I mean, it's actually really funny. When I went over, I've been like singing since I was like a kid. That was like what I, thought I did. And when I was auditioning for drama schools, I was like, yeah, I'm really confident in that. Like, I know that like I can like be chill with that. And when we actually were in our final year, we were about to graduate. At like our like grad ball, they put up on this like screen as a slideshow all of our original audition feedback notes for each discipline. And my singing one was actually the weakest, and I was like shook by that.
That's strange.
Yeah, not to be like rude, but I actually was like, that's actually the only aspect I felt like really confident in. And they were literally like, no. They didn't say no, obviously, but
no. But I guess maybe when we're feeling confident about something, we are less nervous about it, so maybe we put less energy into it.
Yeah,
could
maybe
be an idea, because like maybe if you strut in, you're like, I got this. You might not take as many risks. Whereas if you're kind of dancing and you're like, oh, I don't really know what's going on, I just gotta do this and that. Maybe the pressure.
Yeah, I think it also goes to show that you like never know what somebody's actually thinking when you're auditioning for something, or when somebody's looking at you. You don't. First of all, you don't know what they're looking for, really.
And it could come down to a thing like where they're picking the last 5 people and it's like, oh, we need a boy, we actually need a mature student, so we can't pick Dany because he's too young. We need someone from outside the UK for stats. Like colleges work like that. They need people from everywhere and different age, like the range.
For sure.
The bigger the diversity, the better it is.
We had quite a lot of internationals in our year, actually. Also, our year, because I didn't start till I was 20, there was also people who were like 23, 24 when they started drama school, and lots of people think if you leave it that late, like you can't do it. But I actually think it kind of offers an advantage going a little bit later, because you have experienced a little bit more. And
you have life experience, and you're like, I presume you're kind of like, look, I know this is where I want to be. Whereas when people go straight into a degree after the leaving cert or their GCSEs or whatever, they might be like, why did I sign up to be a doctor? Like,
yeah, and I think a couple of people as well, and not all of them, because obviously people at where I went to college, people were so talented and everybody was so good. But sometimes, especially when we got to our final year, you could kind of, with some of them, tell who started when they were 18 because they had never really experienced rejection before. And then we got lots of auditions when we were in third year, and when people started realizing that it's not easy and it's not going to be easy and you're going to get no's and everything, people kind of I think the younger people took that a little bit harder than some of us who had maybe, you know, I auditioned for drama school and got no's everywhere the first year I went. And
you're used to it, you know, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, not used to no's, but
not used to it, but kind of.
Well, you've dealt with it before.
I was aware that was a thing and that was going to happen, and I didn't let it get me down, and I moved on. Whereas some people, I think, definitely held on to it, and it ate into them.
And you won't bring me down.
Oh, stop.
That brings me to my next question.
That segue.
Yeah, you threw that segue in. So you played Bach in Wicked.
Well, I understudied Bach.
Bach. In the UK cast of Wicked,
yes,
which is fantastic. And for musical theatre people or non-musical theatre people, Wicked is probably one of the biggest musicals of the past 20 years. Yeah, it kind of
I would say so.
It was the Hamilton of the 2000s, and then like Hamilton was the 2010s. I'd say like that kind of like re-brought that interest in musical theatre again.
I think so. I think, you know, I mean, it's been running on Broadway for like over 15 years now, and on the West End for 13, I think, since 2006. Yeah.
And so how does this happen? You go at 19 getting no, you're not going to drama school, you're not good enough, quote unquote, whatever, you have more work to do, and then 23, 4 years on, you're understudying in Wicked.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So I think I was very lucky in the school that I went to offers it's an amazing place. It was a crazy tough 3 years, but the opportunities that they can offer you is absolutely mental. We when I was in my third year, we had the casting director from Wicked. I mean, they cast other things as well, but they come in to look at the third years at Arts Ed, and we did like a private audition for them. And then from that, they called about 10 or 12 of us in to audition for Wicked. And then 5 or 6 rounds later, which was an 8-week audition process.
Whoa.
It was a lot. Yeah, it's mad how many rounds you can do for these things.
And the thing is, compared to like a normal job, you might have 2 or 3 interviews and you got the job, but like you have to put in so many hours before you even have a job.
But I will say that like 5 or 6 isn't even like that many. I did 9 or 8 or 9 for another show as well, and then didn't get it. But
thank you, Nick.
Yeah, in it, like you can.
Yeah.
Oh God, did I say in it? That's so London.
You're allowed to speak London.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. You can give so much time, and then it's like, and then sometimes they don't even tell you. For that one, I did 9 rounds, and they didn't even tell me I didn't get it.
That's so annoying. And then you're on Wicked, you're going for Wicked, and then
sorry, we're talking about that.
Yeah, like break it down, like so week by week, what happens, and how
with
does
the audition process?
Yeah, how did the competition get like knocked off?
So after we did my year did the audition for the casting director, they called about 10 of us in. That was actually the first audition for Wicked itself. We had to sing a song that we thought was like in the style of the show. So first rounds for shows, you don't sing anything from the show usually, unless they bring you, unless you're like, you know, you're already more experienced, and then they bring you in immediately for a role. But I did that, and then about a week later or so, I got told that I would get a recall, and that I would be recalled for the Bach material. So they sent me 2 scenes and 2 songs that he has, and then, you know, you go into the next round, you do some of the material, a scene and a song, leave. A week later, you find out you have another recall, but this time it's going to be a dance call, and I was like, oh, if I'm going to fall, it's going to be here. So we went in, we had to do some of the routines from the show. It was actually alright though, because with Wicked they auditioned the dancers and the covers separately, so our one was actually like a mover's call.
Cool.
Because the people that understudy the dancing is kind of a little bit simpler than the people who dance, and the people who dance are like absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the Wicked dance breaks are insane.
Absolutely crazy.
I saw Wicked 3 times last summer.
Where?
In the Borgosh.
Did you?
Because with work we bring the young people from the summer camp over to see Wicked.
Right.
And I was booked for 2 weeks. I was teaching 3 weeks of the camp, but the way it was, like, each teacher was meant to swap. But then one teacher couldn't go, and then they were like, do you want to go see it for the 3rd time? And I was like, yeah, like, it's great. And each time, it's one of those shows that each time you see it, you're like, oh, like,
there's
I take
a lot
that from
going
it.
on.
There's a lot going on, yeah.
There's a lot going on. Like, visually, it's, like, incredible.
It's amazing. But I had, oh no, this is awful. I had a little girl beside me before the big note in Defying Gravity. She's like, I need to go to the bathroom. I was like,
did you leave?
No, we made a strict rule that like you're like, because you're not allowed in general.
It is
in
a
theatre.
long first act though. It's like an hour and 25 minutes or something.
It is long, but in the theatre, like, and we explained to all the young people, like, look, we can't go to the bathroom.
So go before,
and we'll run out.
Yeah.
During the interval. But she tapped me, and then not Adina Menzel, but Elfa was about to her big note, and then she kept tapping me. I was like, look, you have to wait. And then anyway, she got to go to the bathroom, but it was one of those moments where I was like in awe of the show. I was like, oh,
you're
like it's
shh.
Yeah, well, it was great fun, so I was so blessed to see it. And then you get the role. What happens?
Well, after the movement call, there was still another two or three more rounds of the material as well, and each time they're like cutting people off. So I think by the time I was in finals, which was crazy, so
sounds like the X Factor, like
listen, it's worse. I did finals for another show as well before I did my finals for Wicked,
and are you still doing college at this point?
Yeah. Okay. So I was in my third year. I think I started auditioning for Wicked in January or February of my third year. It goes on until June. I had done finals before my Wicked final. I had done finals for another show the week before, and I was really, really happy that I got the chance to do that because it's so different from every other round. Like when you audition the normal rounds, there might be like 2 or 3 people on the panel that you're auditioning for, but no, when I went in for this first final, there was literally about like 15 people in front of me. Like they're all on like a massive desk, because once they have to decide actually who goes into the show, everyone needs to
confirm
have an opinion and confirm it. So like I was auditioning, and like the song that I was singing for this audition, I had to be in a chair, and like the whole audition there was like papers flicking, people were like chatting to each other,
so
and I'm like
distracting.
it was so distracting, and nobody told me to expect that. So I was so distracted in it. I think I got the words wrong. It was an absolute nightmare. But I'm glad I had that experience, because then I knew walking into my Wicked final, there's going to be 1 million people in here, and I think there was over 20 in my Wicked final. And because it's a show that started in America, after you do finals, you're basically recorded in finals, and it was crazy, literally like a film audition. You're on like a tape, there's like a massive camera filming you. Your footage then has to be sent over to America, and then the Americans have to approve everybody that goes into the show over here as well. So like you could do all of the rounds here, all of the English team are like yeah, and then the Americans can be like which is what happened to me in that one that I did like 9 rounds for. The English team said they were happy with me, and then the Americans didn't like me.
That's so insane. That's such a process. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think people think there's so much glamour. I was saying this in a podcast I recorded earlier today. So much glamour in the film and theatre industry, but it's really so intense. It's not that glamorous.
It's difficult because everybody wants to be that like one person that's going to like, walk out and everyone's going to be so amazed. But like, realistically, like with any of these shows, because there's so many people and everybody is so talented, you have to be so perfect for something. Like before talent even comes into it, you have to walk in and they have to be like, you look exactly like what's in my head right now,
regardless
because
of how
someone else is gonna, and everybody can sing as well as each other. Do you know what I mean? After you pass like a 3rd round or something, I always say that everybody's good enough for the job. It's just who they want, who maybe looks good if you're playing opposite this person, and who looks like the guy who maybe played it before. Do you know what I mean? Like there are so many things that come into it, and I think with Wicked, definitely I was completely in the right place at the right time. Otherwise I might have never gotten it, who knows.
And then you get the understudy role, and where are you in terms of college? Like you said you were still in college. I
got offered it in April of my 3rd year. Cool. And it was to start at the end of June rehearsals. So I finished college in the middle of May. Some people left. Some people started rehearsals like at the start of May for other shows. If they like went into like Les Mis or like Mamma Mia, they started earlier.
So it worked in that way. It didn't get in the way of you getting your degree at all.
No, we have like 3rd year works, you do like 2 musicals and showcase is the last thing you do, and it's in March, and you're not allowed to leave before that. So you can audition before that, but you can't leave before that. So mine didn't start until June. So I actually finished college out. I just had the offer and I knew I was going into it, which was lovely.
I'd say that was so nice. And for your classmates, who else was in? Like, were many others in this?
I think our year did very, very well. It's mental. How I think like 13 or 14 of us went straight into West End shows
Out of a
out
group.
of about 40.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I think it's
almost
quite, I
half,
think it's
yeah.
quite mad. Yeah, like I think usually you'll get like a couple of people, but our year had a lot of people. It was mad. There was like 3 people went into Les Mis. There was like a Mamma Mia. There were 2 that went into Hamilton. Like it was like there was like a lot going on.
Hamilton. You can't even say Hamilton to me in like
Have you seen it?
twice.
Yeah, have you?
Yeah, it's seen twice on the
Do you
West
remember
End.
the guy that played Hercules Mulligan and James Madison? You know, he's like the big guy.
Yeah.
He was in my year.
What?
Yeah,
he was so good.
Yeah, he's really, really nice.
I actually genuinely do remember him as well. I'm not just saying that to be polite. Like that performance,
He's
show
great.
was. I walked out that show and I was like, I'm just gonna go and run away and just sing on a mountain.
I've still
and have
not
the best
seen
time.
it.
You haven't seen it?
No, I really need to.
Do you love the soundtrack or?
I like the soundtrack.
Oh, you're not that into. You're not a. That's so strange. I just. What about Hamilton doesn't like?
I've not seen it. I'm sure if I saw it, I've heard it's amazing, and I will see it at some point. It's just like you have to. I feel like it's a show that you have to like pre-plan to see because there's like limited tickets and you know it's really expensive and stuff. So I'll see it at some point, and I'm sure it will be amazing. From the soundtrack though, I prefer listening to like girls like belting. Like I just like that's like what I live for. So there are like loads of songs in it that I love, but it's usually like the Schuyler Sister songs.
Work.
Yeah, it's a tune.
That's fun. And I suppose Wicked, maybe Dear Evan Hansen might be more your scene.
Yeah,
not that it's a scene. I'm talking about like it's so exclusive.
Scene, you know?
It's not your scene.
I love that show. I think it's amazing.
Which
Dear
one?
Evan Hansen.
Dear Evan Hansen. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it in New York now. It opens in London in 2 weeks though.
Oh yeah, my friend has tickets. He's going over.
Really?
I think he's going to the previews or something.
That's so fun. One of my good friends is playing Zoe in it.
Oh, amazing! They cast really young people as well.
They did, which is really, really nice actually.
The youngest cast member is 15 or something, are they? Or that's
no,
the Broadway
I know
version.
you had to be 17. Andrew Barth Feldman, who plays it on Broadway, is 16.
16,
maybe 17 now.
They saw him in a high school performance, and we're like,
so there's like a competition called the Jimmy Awards, which is like the National High School Musical Theatre Awards competition. Oh, I love High School Musical. Don't.
When people put those all together, I'm just like High School Musical.
High School Musical 2, cinematic genius.
Is that the best one?
Yeah.
I think it's. Yeah, I think it is.
Are you mad when people tell me that it's?
I think 3 is highly underrated.
Listen, it's not. No.
A lot of people don't appreciate 3.
How is it underrated? It went to cinema. It was high budget.
Yeah, but like in terms of the fans, a lot of people don't say High School Musical 3 is their favourite.
Because it's not.
But it's very good. Listen, music.
It's fine. Number 2
has the bangers.
Is where it's at. Huma Huma Nuka Nuka Apple Ah.
Maka Iki Poo.
Yeah.
And that's a bonus track.
It is a bonus track. I had High School Musical. No, I had High School Musical Sing Star.
Same.
Yeah, but it I had like all the Sing Stars, but the High School Musical one, somebody like sang with you, and I didn't really appreciate that.
I'm not a fan.
I didn't want to do it.
I had the Disney Hits one as well. I think Camp Rock was in that. Yeah. It's PS3 exclusive. It's pretty crazy. I remember I was singing Start of Something New from High School Musical 1 with my friend, and I accidentally sang. I was Gabriella at the time and he was Troy, and I sang a bit the Troy bit, and like we had to stop. Like he was like, this is my part. It was like we were like in a theatre show. He's like, you cannot sing Troy's lines. 6-year-old me. It was fun. I
did sing a song from High School Musical 3 in a local panto before. Do you know Can I Have This Dance?
Yes.
Literally, it was my idea. They were like, what will we sing here? And I was like, I know, and it's from High School Musical.
3, senior year. It made 249 million at the box office.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, it made $250 million.
Stop.
I think it made more than Hannah Montana. I think Hannah Montana only made like 160.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. I went to see it the opening night. It was a
I don't
Wednesday.
think I saw it in the cinema. This is funny. I didn't like High School Musical when it was out. I was that age, you know. I was like,
I was that age, but I wasn't that way.
Like I think I like skateboarded and played like electric guitar and stuff. So
yes, Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, I like no, we're not talking Avril Lavigne. We're talking like Slipknot.
Oh, darker. Okay.
No, listen, it was a lot. I love like Slipknot, like Trivium, like Bullet for My Valentine. Like I was intense as a teenager.
That's very intense. I've never ever listened to that.
And whenever there was actually on Wicked, one of the sound guys, he was into like metal, and he had a Trivium t-shirt on once, and like me just like saunters down like to stage to get into my like musical theatre costume, and I was like, oh, Trivium, like I used to love them, and he was so confused.
I would be too. That's so funny. And talk to me about your first day on Wicked. What was that like?
Actually, it's quite funny. I was scared. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I knew I was like the only one in it who had no experience, like professionally. So I didn't know how to act. I didn't know anything. I knew the guy that was playing Bach. So I went up to him and I said, "Do not leave me." And literally linked his arm, and he felt the same. It was his first West End show as well. So we were like, let's not leave each other.
Oh, that's nice.
But then, the ice was broken and it was fine. But the first few days of rehearsals is usually just musicals. So you sit down with the musical director and you go through the music and you learn all the ensemble stuff. And I remember because in college they were so strict on us, and we had to be like super, super, what's the word I'm looking for?
Rigid or?
Super rigid. It was all like super regimented. So like we had to literally be so well behaved. Like we weren't allowed to speak, like look at your phone, like all that is like big no. And then I started rehearsals for this, and everybody was just like having a laugh and this. And I spent the whole first day being so confused at what was going on, because I had just spent...
Stop messing.
Literally, I was like, oh my God, you guys are so unprofessional. But actually, like, there was no need to be like that at all, because nobody wants to be like that. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's there to like...
Get to know each other.
The musical director who's been teaching this for the last like 10 years doesn't want to come in and act like a teacher. And do you know what I mean? They just want to like... As long as we're all paying attention, we're all doing the work, like everyone is having a good time, and it's just a bit of crack, like, and that took a bit of adjusting to do after coming straight from college, where we had to take ourselves so seriously, and I still was taking myself very seriously.
And what was the first moment like when you played the role, stepping out on stage?
When I went on for Bach?
Yeah. How far into it was it? Like,
I didn't play the role until I think we started at the end of July, the start of August, and I didn't play the role until November.
Oh, okay. But you were... What would you do? Would you be in the ensemble then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Ensemble normally, and then I sometimes played Bach. And I played it in November, and yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was... I remember even in my interview at Arts Ed, in the audition... Chris Hocking, who's the principal of Arts Ed, he's great. He would ask everybody, like, what roles do you kind of see yourself playing? And the first thing I said was Bach and Wicked.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, literally, like, it's all I've said for a long time. I even actually remember in college we were getting measurements done for our third year shows, and they measured my height, and they said 5'8", but to play Bach you have to be 5'7" or under, and I was literally like, no.
I'm going to change that.
So I was just like, no, I'm not. And 5'7" went on my CV, didn't care. And then...
That's so cheeky.
I don't think I'm 5'8". I don't know, I might have been wearing shoes.
Yeah, it's a lie. It's just like the haters trying to get you down.
Yeah, they're just trying to
do it.
Dull my sparkle.
And then let me take it back. So all this is amazing. Let's take it back to when you're like 13 or 14.
Okay.
What was being in like first and second year, being like a teenager into musical theatre like for you?
Do you know what? It was all right. I did, when I was in first year, they schools do like the transition year musicals. They needed like a first year, and like I auditioned for that, and got it, and was doing that. And then I can't remember. I think I stopped for like a few years, to be honest.
Nice.
Because I got into like other things. Like I got into like skateboarding and like electric guitar, and like I went through so many like musical phases. I was like had like a drum kit for a bit, and like had like a really cheap violin for a bit, and it was just like
I'd love to see like photos of you up till every year.
It's awful. And I went through the lot. I had like hair phases, like different colours, like, oh god.
Do you have the one that like covered your whole face?
I absolutely did, and it was black, and there was red under the fringe.
And did you dye it? Yeah.
No, it's just natural.
No, I mean like obviously you dyed it, but... Alright, I'm gonna leave. No, but like, did you dye it yourself, or did someone, like, what did your parents think of this? Did you get it done in a hair place? That's more what I meant. Obviously,
it started actually with highlights. I don't know how like personally my vibes went from highlights to black hair. Like, that seems like completely different ends of the spectrum.
A bit different, yeah.
Where
did you hang out when you were a teenager? Like, where would you go?
In Howth, which is where I grew up.
Yeah.
We would just loiter
loiter the hell out of Hove.
I used to
Like
go to,
around the bay, like Bishop's area, or where would you
we were
loiter?
doing all sorts. Like I swear to God, I have memories of like a whole summer of just like climbing the cliffs and stuff every single day. When I think back to that, like if I tried that now, I would be dead in like 15 seconds. Like it was
Your step
steep.
count must have been buzzing.
Well, listen.
Fitness doesn't happen in a second, but don't you wish like those times were so easy? I remember just running
Literally,
around, yeah.
like didn't have a care
Second,
in
third
the
year.
world. Although you feel like you did.
Yeah, everything was so big, but the main thing was like, who you gonna kiss? Did you kiss her? Did you kiss him? What's going on?
Literally.
And
We used to play truth or dare in like a bush. Like all of my primary school. This wasn't even secondary school. Primary school class, which is so ropey. We used to all like go to like a bush and play truth or dare with each other.
That's scary. That's very scary. I used to hang around Stephen's Green in second year and literally.
Where are you from?
Conjure.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's close to town.
Close to town, yeah. So there was like a GAA. There's a GAA place that I hung out in a bit in first year, but I got slagged a lot. Well, one day I wore shorts, and apparently it wasn't a day to wear shorts, which was so funny. So I got slagged.
You must like musical theatre.
Yeah, but I got slagged because I did YouTube videos when I was 12.
Oh.
So when I was in sixth class,
What type of YouTube videos?
like RESPC.
You sang?
Yeah. I sang
So
on
like
YouTube.
singing YouTube
Did
videos.
sing like I was just.
Did you do
Super Junior.
Aretha?
Yeah. Actually, shot it here upstairs. I'll show you the video after this.
Oh God.
But
you?
I kind of hit the notes. But anyway, I was singing on YouTube, and then that was in sixth class. Then I went into first year, and it was like, you're weird, like. Because obviously it's easier if you're not the weird kid, so I was just made this weird kid. Anyway, I kind of owned it, but I kind of stopped hanging around with that group because I was like, I don't want to hang out with people who are just going to literally try and push everything that's good about me down. Do you know
So
what I mean?
these were your friends?
Do you know, bullying would be too strong a word. Friendly, but would just be me. Do you know what I mean? So it's such a hard thing.
I actually saw that last week. I was like, these guys are hanging out with each other, but they're just like screaming abuse at each other. And I was like,
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like 13-year-olds.
Yeah, but it wasn't banter. It was kind of like everyone against one person. And then I was just like, actually, I don't need this. I was just like, bad vibes, get off of me, you know?
People are rude.
Yeah. And then I kind of found my clique in the stage school. Not clique, but my friends. And we all had like-minded ideas. And then we go to town and stuff.
How long have you been there?
Since I was 8. Yeah.
Oh, you were a student there?
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
I'm in my 4th year teaching now. But yes, so I was slagged for singing on YouTube and things like that. So I then found my drama mates and we just went to town and we just sit in Stephen's Green and loiter in McDonald's. Loitering was the main thing. And we'd always like pretend to write scripts. We'd be like, we're going to make a movie. Like one summer we made maybe one film in a day and then the rest we just ran around.
Do you still have it?
The film, I don't know where it is, but it was about someone's dog being murdered. It was the stupidest thing ever, but like it was great crack, and you just have those bonds forever.
Yeah.
And
Are you still friends with them?
Yeah.
that's
I'm actually
cute.
producing a music video on them shooting this week.
Oh, nice.
So
Who's
that's
that?
fun. Do you know Bobby Arlo? She's like up and coming.
Maybe.
You'll hear she has a single coming out. She hasn't actually dropped yet. Dropped. She's not dead, but she hasn't dropped her single yet. I think it's coming out next month. But yeah, so we're shooting her debut video together, myself and Ella Cannon, who's my friend. But yeah, then kind of 3rd year summer, what did I do? I don't know what did I do. And then 5th year summer I worked. Actually, I started working 3rd year summer.
Yeah.
When I was 15 I started working
Did you?
in summer camps. Yeah, it was cool. So did you ever experience any like being treated differently because you were a boy in musical theatre in school or anything like that?
Do you know what? I actually always say this. I think I was quite lucky because I had a close group of friends, and I came out when I was like 16. So I came out when I was in 4th year. Not that
And were you in a mixed school or an all boys school?
all boys school. I mean, I always say now, if I could look back on it, I wouldn't make such a big deal about coming out because I don't think it needs to be. But I came out, everybody kind of found out. I mean, I told like a couple of people and then it was over summer. And then by the time I started 5th year, like everybody knew and I was just like... But nobody really treated me differently, you know. There were a few gay people in my year and I did see homophobic bullying. I don't know why they didn't try come for me. I think it might have been because I had a close group of friends and it wasn't...
In what sense was the
wasn't as much of a
bullying?
thing.
Like-
You know, there'd just be like, you know, just like words thrown out, like remarks. Like I never saw anyone getting like beaten up or anything, but I definitely saw people being like treated differently or like mocked or stuff being yelled at them. I think somebody tried to call me the F word before. I hate that word. And everybody else kind of went in for him, which I'll always remember. That was the only time anybody in school ever tried to come for me, and everybody else was like,
"Don't do that."
What the fuck are you saying? So that was nice. So actually, to be honest, I didn't really like school at all. I was not good in school.
What about it did you not like?
I wasn't good at it. I wasn't incredibly academic. I liked music. I loved music, and my music teacher was amazing. Actually, I'm actually still in touch with her. She was awesome. I think she's actually like the deputy principal of the school now. She was really, really nice, and I've got her on like Facebook and stuff.
Oh, that's so fun. It's so fun.
And she loved musicals, and she saw the original cast of Wicked on Broadway and stuff, and like we always kind of like bonded over that. And she really she was one of the most like positive things about my secondary school experience. And also fourth year, everybody got really like involved in the fourth year musicals. So I think maybe
what one was it?
Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, fun.
I think that's why it was okay. I just always remember that school always puts on like decent musicals for a fourth year, and everybody gets so involved, and everybody like loves musicals after, and it's really nice.
That's so nice, especially for an all boys school.
Yeah. They pair with the girls' school up the road.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got a really nice theatre.
And it's so good to mix, because I went to an all-boys school as well, and you realise that some boys have never actually properly talked to a girl. And they're like this scary idea that they don't know how to approach. It's really funny. My friend just didn't know how to talk to a girl like normally, because...
It's so mad, isn't it?
It's
that
mad.
You think they're so different, because it's so like segregated your whole life.
Yeah, I think education should be mixed. Like
I agree.
I think it's crazy.
I think it's mad. Yeah.
And in that moment, like when did you decide like I'm dropping out, and how did that feel for you?
I decided I was dropping out at the end of first year. I actually I had auditioned for drama schools, and I hadn't gotten in, and I genuinely don't remember how I had the bravery to do that, to drop out before I had a place at anywhere else. But I was just like, I'm going to work for a year. And in my head, I was literally like, I'm going to Arts Ed next year, even though all of the odds are against you. So many people audition. But for some reason in my head, I had the confidence that I knew I was going to drama school the next year. So I was like, no, I need money because I'm going to drama school next year. And I just did.
And then what did your peers or your parents say about you taking this year off?
My parents were chill with that. I mean, they had, like I said, I'm the youngest of 8, so they've seen it all with all the other kids. That by the time it came to me,
do whatever.
Like, literally just do whatever the fuck you want. Like, do you know what I mean?
Don't kill anyone.
Just don't kill anyone. Do whatever you want. Like, even like, if you were like 18, 19, you had like a breakup, my parents would literally be like, you'll be grand. Because they've just seen every single type of relationship, like how it can fail, how it can work, anything. So like by the time it got to me, everything was just like, you'll be grand.
And then, so... you take the year off, and then you worked in a restaurant. So what was that like for you, taking that year off? How was that year for you? Was it reflective, or was it just like working towards this goal?
I think it was always just working towards this goal. I mean, I wasn't doing any training or anything. I was literally like sitting in... I remember I would just spend so many hours just sitting in my room, listening to people sing, trying to copy how they sound, trying to like copy like little like riffs, or like I always recorded myself and then listened back, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't like that one note, and then I'd like sing it again, and like that's how I think I got better. I just like was so like hard on myself, which worked out.
It worked, yeah.
I'm still very hard on myself.
And how is that on your mindset?
What?
Like being so hard on yourself, how is that on your mind?
I don't know. It's all I've known. I like to think I take myself a little bit less seriously now. Which I've only really started doing it, I feel like in the last year or so, to kind of take myself a little bit less seriously and kind of stop caring what other people think, and just do, if it's my job, just do my job, and just do like if you're cast, you're there for a reason. Yeah.
And what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced in your career so far that you can say?
Yeah, I actually think it was one of the like most difficult things to realize was that achieving like an air quote dream, and like getting to that stage, that's not what's going to kind of make you happy, and you have to kind of create your own happiness around it. I just assumed that when I went into like a big job like that, which I didn't think I'd get for like a few years, and so I was really lucky to land it so early, but I think I went in being like so stressed after drama school and being like, oh, this is going to be amazing, it's going to like cure like anything, like I'm going to be so happy, everything's going to be amazing. And then obviously life keeps happening, and that's like a whole year, and stuff's happening outside, stuff's happening personally, stuff's everything like this, and it's just about like, I found it very difficult to kind of come to terms with the fact that that wasn't going to make me happy, and that like life was still going to happen, and I was still going to experience things that maybe I didn't want to. And you know, when I was a student, it was doing college was hard, but life-wise I guess it was kind of easy because we were just in the one place, and it was for 3 years. But then obviously I was thrown out into like the world, and I was working in central London, and like I don't know, I think the challenges have been like learning that, I don't want to sound really cynical or negative, but learning that musical theatre isn't everything, because I spent my whole life up until that point with just doing that in mind.
That was your hobby, your work, your everything.
It was my everything, like absolutely everything. It was all I thought about, it was all I was listening to, it was all I was talking about, it was like absolutely everything. And then, you know, you get there and it's awesome, but like, you know, there's
a job.
There's more to life, and like in terms of like in the grand scheme of things, it's a very little part of like, you know, the world, and like loads of people don't even know what Wicked is, loads of people don't even know what the West End is, or what like Violet is, or what, you know, the shows that I've done. So like it's kind of taking it all with a pinch of salt, taking yourself a little bit less seriously, and yeah, just.
And then take me to Violet.
Violet was really nice. It's a musical that was on. It was on in the 90s, but then it was revised and turned into a one-act show, and it was on Broadway in 2014. Sutton Foster was playing the lead in it then. And then it came to London this year. It started last December and went on until April this year. But it's a lovely show, and that was the original London production, and that was really different to Wicked because, you know, we were the only people to do it in London. So on Violet, we kind of...
You got to play more, did you?
We got to play a little bit more. We had our own opinions. Stuff changed all the time, which brought its own stresses and its own anxiety. Because like we were in like previews, and press night was like 4 days away, and the show was literally changing every single night because they were watching it, seeing how audiences were reacting to certain like direction, and they would like change it. And we had a Revolve as well built into the theatre.
Oh, that's so cool.
The theatre was like transformed for the show, so they built a Revolve into the middle, and there was audience on both sides, so it was Traverse. That's right. And
1 second.
So it was quite complicated, like tech wise, and all the set was just like a few chairs and a few boxes that like changed and moved in to create different things. So it all had to be really specific and marked, and the Revolve had to be in the right place. So like that was quite tricky, like tech wise. So the show was changing constantly, even up until press night. When press night came and we were like getting reviewed, none of us felt ready to be like reviewed by every fucking paper in London. Do you know what I mean? Because even after that, like the show, it didn't change the show, but like it wasn't at a stage where we felt comfortable to be reviewed by then, because it was it all just happened so quickly, and we were making it from scratch. So it was an interesting experience. But it was cool. Like,
and then shortly after that, you returned home. Why was that?
Well, I finished that in April. I only came home 2 weeks ago. At the start of
September,
October, the end of September.
Yeah.
And in between that, I, did a workshop for a couple of weeks, and then I was just kind of auditioning, and I was working. London is so fast. You're always kind of chasing something, and I just haven't taken a step away from it at all. And I think kind of mental health wise, it is kind of important, I've realised, to do that, I think. And I have come home just for a few months. I still have my house over there and stuff. I've come home for a few months just to take a bit of a breather. I've got amazing agents who are really, really supportive, who have allowed me to take a bit of time out. And
it's important, though. It's really important to reflect on yourself.
I think it is, and I think it's something that people don't give themselves the time to do a lot of the time.
Because the media and Instagram and social media, we have to be on all the time.
And when I did Wicked, and when I was in college, we were encouraged like to well, actually not so much in Wicked, but it was kind of like a general thing that everyone was doing, like do social media, do this, and I cared so much about like my social media, but then, you know, I realized that it's not everything, and like it was actually causing me like stress, like, you know, if I put a photo of me in costume up, it would get this many likes and blah, 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 blah. When actually I really, really don't care about that anymore at all. And because of that, I think I have become less intense.
And how's it being back home? Is it
so nice? You know, I usually come home 2 or 3 times a year, but after a couple of days, I want to go back to London usually. But this time it feels, because I set myself the time to come back, and I'm going to stay until at least January, and you know, it's been really, really nice, and I have felt like I've gotten the chance to kind of switch off, and I think that's really important, and I've never done that before.
And you're still getting to work in a different capacity as well. You're teaching and doing other bits and pieces.
It's really nice to work here and teach here and stuff, so it's been lovely.
And you were saying that you were in London during the week. Could you tell us a bit about that? You were back over.
Yeah, I went to London this week actually. I was booked in to go Monday to Wednesday. I was going over to see like a vocal coach and stuff like that, and saw who I needed to see on the Monday, but I was just really, really stressed in London. I think I didn't give myself enough time over here. I feel like, what am I trying to say? I think I had been so switched off here and I'd enjoyed it so much that I kind of forgot how quick London was, and I got over and I was just like, whoa, this is actually a lot. And ended up coming back to Ireland early. I was just like, no, I need to just give myself the time that I said I was going to give myself. And I came back and had about a 12-hour sleep that night because I felt so comfortable to be back again.
Oh, I need a 12-hour sleep soon.
Yeah.
And like, what do you do to look after your mental health in general?
Just in general?
I suppose it's very hard to have time when you're on stage and you're rehearsal and you're going from A to B on the the subway and then the tram, but it's the underground.
Yeah, the tram, the Lewis.
You're about to get on the Dart.
Oh gosh, the Dart. I have seen so many ripped up seats on the Dart. Everyone just like cuts them up.
Boys and girls, stop it.
Stop it. The youths.
It's probably not even the youth. It's probably like, I don't know, any age. Who rips? Like, how does that even happen?
It was done with a knife. Like, it was like 4 seats in a row, just like cut down, side up. Like, they were cut open. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Irish public transport and Dublin public transport more specifically is so bizarre. Like, some bus routes, you're like, why does that go there?
And why are they every 45 minutes?
Or every 4 minutes? There's some buses that are just...
minutes?
Yeah, there's some buses... So the 46A, for example, that goes from Phoenix Park to Dunleary, sometimes it's every 5 minutes. Then there might not be one for 40 minutes. And there'll be 3 at once. And it's just very confusing.
No. And especially, like, having lived 5 years in London, where, like, if you go down to the tube platform and there's not a train for more than, like, 4 minutes, you complain.
Yeah. And it's never late, typically.
No, not really, no. It's usually alright.
Yeah. And if it's late, it's not like Japan. I think in Japan, if your public transport is late, you get a letter from the company that you give to work.
Really?
That forgives you for being late.
That's cool. I mean, they have it all online if there's, like, delays and stuff.
Yeah. Well, look, I'd like to ask you, what would you advise young people who are going for musical theatre college or drama college now?
You know, I wouldn't have thought this back when I was auditioning, and maybe I wish someone told me, or maybe I wouldn't have even taken them seriously if they did, because it took me learning it to feel this way. But, like, don't take yourself so seriously. Be a nice person. Be yourself as well, because it's so cliche, but, like, literally being yourself is so important, because if you're trying to be something else and trying to be somebody else, like, people are going to see through that anyway. And just have a good time. I don't know. I don't know if you guys were like, if you were expecting like the answer of like, do like this many dance classes and this many. No.
Do this warm up, do this ship up.
No, I really, really think like, you know, yeah, obviously like focus on like the skills, and if you're in drama school, you're going to be focusing on the skills anyway. But just try to just like take yourself a little bit less seriously, because I have driven myself insane with just how seriously I took myself and how much I cared about what everybody else thought of me. And now that I feel like I somewhat don't do that anymore, I think I will be a better actor. I think I'll be a better performer for it, and I think I can be more myself. And I think that's the most important thing.
London 2020.
And don't be a dick is the main thing.
That's to me.
That's to you.
No, I'm joking. And just before we go, we're coming to the end. Is there anything you didn't get a chance to mention or anything you'd like to say?
Always be on time. I think we got like 3 rules that they drilled into us at college. It was literally just like, always be on time, don't be a dick, and know your shit.
Know your shit. Don't be That's fair. That's true. Well, let's leave it there. Do you want anyone to find you anywhere on social media?
If anybody would like to. My Instagram and Twitter is Dany Micheals 94.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. And if you want to find Dany, as he said, it's Dany Micheals 94 at Twitter, at Instagram, all those social media channels. And if you want to find me, I'm at Louis Max as well on Instagram. And if you want to email me about anything, it's louismaxwellwork@gmail.com. And if you want to be a guest on the show, or there's someone you want to hear on the show, just let me know and we'll try organise it. Have the best week ever, and thanks for listening.